it's astonishing, isn't it? How much our brain is actually managing completely outside of our awareness.
Right, complete.
We tend to think of the subconscious, doing the heavy lifting for things like growth or digestion, but it's really this massive analysis engine. We're basically walking prediction machines.
That's the perfect way to put it. It's not just maintaining the body, it's constantly scanning the world, cataloging cues, and building these really complex models based on everything we do over and over again.
Which is the foundation of every habit we have.
Exactly.
And the power of that non-conscious learning is, well, it's best illustrated when it looks almost like magic.
Right, like pure intuition.
Yeah. That famous story of the paramedic is a perfect example. She's at a family dinner. Her father-in-law's right there talking, seems totally fine. And she just gets this feeling.
Just a feeling. She knew something was fundamentally wrong.
And she insisted he go to the hospital right then.
And, well, thank goodness she did. He was having a major artery blockage. He probably wouldn't have survived the night otherwise. But what's so fascinating is that she couldn't tell you why. If you asked her what she saw, all she could say was, he just didn't look right.
So, okay, if the brain is filtering out, 99% of sensory data every single second?
Which it is, yeah.
How did this one specific non-conscious detail actually make it through that filter?
It's all about repetition. Years and years of it. The physiological reason is actually pretty straightforward.
Okay.
When your major arteries are blocked, your body, it reroutes blood to your critical organs.
So it pulls blood away from less important places.
Exactly. Away from the periphery, like the skin on your face. Now, to you or me, we wouldn't notice a thing. But for her, after seeing hundreds, maybe thousands of patients in heart failure, that tiny pattern change, that subtle pallor, it's a massive red flag. Her brain had encoded it.
So her non-conscious mind just picked out the 1% of data that screamed danger.
That is expertise.
And this isn't just about medicine. You see this everywhere, this high-level pattern recognition.
Oh, absolutely. In any complex field.
You hear stories about military analysts, I think it was during the Gulf War, who had to make these split-second calls. This one lieutenant commander, he ordered a missile shot down, even though everything on the screen, the speed, the altitude, it all screamed friendly plane.
But he just knew.
He just knew, and he was right.
It's the same thing with, say, an art curator at a museum. They can look at an expert forgery one that passes all the millions of micro cues from authentic pieces, and the forgery gives off a signal that just doesn't fit the pattern. It sets off an alarm without any conscious thought.
Or even something more everyday, like a hairdresser who can tell a client is pregnant just from a slight change in their hair texture.
Right. It's all the same process.
Yeah.
With enough repetition, the brain automates the connection between a cue and an outcome.
And this is where it gets dangerous. Because that system, as powerful as it is, doesn't really care if the habit is good or bad.
No, it treats all repetition the same. If it's learning to spot a stroke, that's great. But if it's learning to, reach for your phone every time you feel a flicker of boredom, that gets put on autopilot too.
So our habits, especially the really deep ones, they fall under the control of that same automatic system that handles our breathing. You don't even have to be aware of the cue for the habit to start.
Not at all. A craving for something doesn't wait for you to make a conscious decision. It could be triggered by hormones, by a feedback loop you learned years ago. You walk into the kitchen and your hand is on the fridge door before you've even thought about it.
That explains those mistakes we make that feel so bizarre later.
Look, baffling ones, yeah.
Like that story about the retail clerk. She'd been cutting up gift cards all day, and then a customer hands her a real credit card. She runs the transaction, picks up the scissors, and just...
snip. Cuts it right in half. Total autopilot.
Her routine completely took over.
That's a perfect example. Or you hear about people who change jobs. The former preschool teacher who keeps asking her adult coworkers if they wash their hands.
Oh, no.
The cue is there, someone leaving the restroom. And her brain fires off this deeply ingrained, but now totally wrong response.
And I think the real problem here is that over time, the cues themselves, the scissors on the counter, the phone in your pocket, they become so common they're basically invisible.
That invisibility is the core of the problem. It's the whole challenge. If a habit stays mindless, you can't improve it, you can't change it, you're just stuck repeating the same loop.
It sounds like a trap. If the brain is designed for this kind of efficiency, how do you even begin to fight back against it?
You have to force consciousness back into the equation. There's a great quote from the psychologist Carl Jung that just sums it all up. He said, Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate.
So we need a system, something mechanical to drag these invisible habits out into the open.
We do. And one of the most effective systems ever designed for this comes from, of all places, the Japanese railway.
Which is famous for its safety.
Right. It's all built around this ritual called pointing and calling.
I think I've seen videos of this. Well, it looks a little strange. The conductors are physically pointing at signals and shouting things out.
It looks very strange. They point with their whole arm and say, "Signal is green." They point at the speedometer, call out the speed. Staff on the platform point and yell, "All clear."
It seems so performative, but the results are. They're incredible.
Right. They're staggering. It reduces errors by up to 85%. It cuts accidents by 30%.
So what's the mechanism there? Why is that so much better than just, looking at the signal and thinking, ooh, okay, it's green?
Because it locks in multiple senses. You're using your eyes to see, your hand to point, your mouth to speak, and your ears to hear yourself. It forces you out of complacency.
Ah, okay.
Your brain just assumes the light will be green because it's green thousands of times. But pointing and speaking forces a moment of actual conscious verification. You're so much more likely to notice if something is wrong.
That makes perfect sense for something physical, like checking a signal. But how do you apply that to our internal habits, the ones that are invisible? Like,
Yeah.
you can't exactly point at your urge to procrastinate.
No, you can't. And that's where we need a different kind of system, one for self-awareness. If pointing and calling is for the physical world, we need something like a habit scorecard for our internal world.
Okay, so the idea is just to raise awareness before you even try to change anything.
Before you change a single thing.
So how does someone listening right now actually do this?
It's simple, but it takes, a bit of effort. Step one, you just make a list of everything you do in a typical day. From the second you wake up,
Everything.
everything. Wake up, turn off alarm, check phone, go to the bathroom, weigh myself, make coffee, check email. You get the idea. Be brutally honest.
And then step 2 is to score them.
Right. You just go down the list and put a plus sign for a good habit, a minus for a bad one, and an equal sign for a neutral one. So it might be check phone, minus, take a shower, neutral, floss my teeth, plus.
And what's good or bad really depends on your goals, which is a key point.
It's entirely dependent on your goals. Eating a bagel with peanut butter could be a huge plus for someone trying to bulk up.
But a huge minus for someone trying to lose weight.
Exactly. The context is everything.
But we're also encouraged to think beyond just good and bad, and instead think of habits as being effective.
I think that's a much more useful way to look at it, because really, all of your habits are effective at something, even the ones you hate.
Right. Smoking is effective at reducing stress in the moment.
Binge-watching Netflix is effective at avoiding a difficult task. They all serve some kind of immediate purpose, which is why we do them.
So the real question isn't whether a habit is good or bad, but what is its net outcome in the long run?
Yes. And that forces you to ask the most important question of all when you look at that list.
The identity test.
The identity test. For every single habit you ask, does this behavior help me become the type of person I want to be? Does this habit cast a vote for or against my desired identity?
Okay, let's make that concrete. Say my desired identity is a healthy person. How does my morning habit of checking my phone first thing cast a vote against that?
Well, it could be a vote against. If being a healthy person to you means being calm and intentional, then starting your day by reacting to a flood of emails and notifications is a vote for the identity of a reactive person.
I see.
It puts you on your back foot. Whereas maybe 5 minutes of stretching would be a vote for the identity of a healthy person. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you are becoming.
That reframes it completely. It's not about this giant, scary goal of getting healthy. It's about what vote am I casting right now?
Exactly.
What's so great about the scorecard, at least at the beginning, is that you're not supposed to change anything. You're just noticing.
And that non-judgmental part is critical. It's so easy to start this and immediately beat yourself up. I can't believe I waste so much time on my phone. That just kills the whole process.
So the mindset should be more like a scientist observing a specimen.
Precisely. Like you're watching someone else. Oh, how interesting that he chose to eat that cookie. You just acknowledge it as a fact without blame.
Taking that emotion out of it must be key.
It is. And once you get good at just noticing, then you can bring in that advanced version of pointing and calling. You can use it to disrupt the bad habits in real time.
So how does that work? You verbalize the consequence of the action.
Yes. You say the action you're about to take and its outcome out loud.
I could see how that might feel like blaming yourself, though. I'm about to do this bad thing.
It's a really important distinction. It's not blame, it's consequence identification. Blame is emotional. I'm so lazy. This is factual. I am about to watch another episode on Netflix, which will mean I go to bed late and feel tired tomorrow.
So you're just connecting the action to the actual result right in that moment of temptation.
You're adding weight to the choice. So you see the cookie on the counter and you say out loud, I'm about to eat this cookie. I don't need it for energy, and eating it will hurt my goal of losing weight.
Hearing yourself say that out loud has to make it harder to just mindlessly go through with it.
It makes it much harder. It forces that automatic brain to stop for a second and let the rational brain have a say. It makes the cost of the habit real.
So really, both the scorecard and this verbalizing technique are just about one thing.
Acknowledgement.
Acknowledging the cue and the choice you're about to make.
That's it. That recognition is the difference between letting your life be directed by these invisible forces and actively choosing your path. You simply have to see your habits before you can ever hope to change them.
That first step of just seeing, of just acknowledging, is probably the hardest part. So maybe a final thought for you listening is to just think about tomorrow. What's that one tiny non-conscious cue you know you'll face? The phone on the nightstand, the remote on the couch. And what's the one simple sentence you could say out loud, not to judge, but just to notice the consequence? That small act of acknowledgement. That might be the first real vote you cast for the person you want to become.